Hey, what's going on, people? So, I got a question from one of my subscribers, and I was asked to talk about marriage and what it means to get married in the 21st century. Um, this is a topic that's actually quite interesting because I've had a lot of discussions in regards to this. I've had a lot of conversations in regards to this topic, and in my opinion, any man in the 21st century should avoid marriage. Now, I know that this might come across as crass, and some people may think of me as just another chauvinist, anti-marriage individual, but there's a reason for my opinion. And here's the thing. First and foremost, marriage is not about love. It's never been about love. Historically speaking, marriage was a contract, and it was used by families to create alliances with other powerful families and to create a network. It was never really about love to begin with. That's why even in some societies today, we still have arranged marriages for that exact purpose. Here in America, it was the same thing up until maybe about a century or 2 centuries ago, and even then, marriage was mostly about assets. It's basically a contract where two people agree to share assets, agree to share living spaces, and pretty much handle their assets as if they're one individual. But marriage is not about love. From an emotional standpoint, there's no difference between being married and living together. They're doing the exact same thing. The only difference is a piece of paper and a ring. But other than that, marriage has um, no real emotional purpose. I think a lot of girls are conditioned to think that they need to get married or ought to get married because it's part of the fairy tale story that they envision themselves to have with love. They think you meet someone, you guys get along great, you go out for whatever, however long, then you become official, then you become engaged, then you get married, then you have kids. But the reality is that you can do all these things without getting married. You can still manage your assets together without having to get married. Like I said, marriage at the end of the day is a contract, but it's not some magical piece of paper that makes your love better. Now, this brings me to my second point. From a financial standpoint, there is absolutely no benefit to getting married, especially for a man. Um, First of all, in most family courts, if things go wrong, more than likely your wife is going to get custody. If she gets custody, she gets child support. If you make more than she does, she gets alimony. And on top of all that, she gets your house and half of your assets. And there are many men, especially in America, that have been left almost financially ruined because of divorces. Divorces that they didn't initiate or that they didn't necessarily contribute to. I mean, here in Massachusetts, there are tons of cases where the woman will have an affair, get tired of the marriage, divorce the guy, take his kids, take half his stuff, move in with a new boyfriend, and still collect money from the ex-husband. So, in my opinion, marriage in this day and age is nothing more than indentured servitude because there's really no benefit to it. Even if your wife makes more money than you, she's almost automatically seen as the superior caregiver simply by virtue of the fact that she's a woman, regardless of whether that is true or not. So you become a weekend dad, and you're still gonna have to pay child support, and you still lose your house. So, in my opinion, if you're a young man trying to make it in the world, or if you're a man that has succeeded, your best bet will be to simply live together, but don't get married. If you really want to get married, the best solution, in my opinion, is to have a religious ceremony or a traditional thing. You can get married in a church, you can get married in whatever religion you follow, and you can have all the celebrations and all the hoopla that comes with that. But don't sign the legal document that says you're married, because the minute you do, you run the potential of becoming property of the state at some point. And it's not really paranoia, it's the truth. That's why I tell people all the time, you're better off not getting married. because there's no benefit to it, not for any man. If you live together and you have agreements, financial agreements on how to deal with your assets, you're pretty much married anyway, and you can get married in church. So if you're a religious person and you feel that you need to get married for religious purposes, you can get married in a religious institution but not do it legally. So you'll be married to your church but not to the state. To me, that solves the problem. So that in case the marriage ends, I mean, you're still probably going to lose custody of your kids. That's inevitable, unless she really messes up. You're still going to lose custody. But at least there's only so much she'll be able to get from you, maybe child support, but not anything like alimony or half of your assets, because legally she has no right to what's yours. And the same goes for women who make a lot of money or have a lot of assets. If you get married to a guy that makes a lot less than you and he decides to divorce, if you don't get married to him legally, he won't have access to half of your assets. Now, there are some loopholes that they could probably exploit. Besides child support or whatever, there's common law marriage and the fact that you've probably, they could use the amount of time you spend together as leverage. But so long as there's no legal document saying that you're married, their ability to exploit the system against you will be extremely limited. So in my opinion, you're much better off not getting married, at least not legally. Live together, do everything together. If you need to have some sort of financial reassurance, you can get a lawyer or two lawyers, come together and draft different agreements and different contracts to back up all that stuff. But getting married puts you as a man in a position of disadvantage. And that's always going to be the case because the family court is biased in favor of women. So you're better off not getting married. And I mean, you can see that in Hollywood, you can see that anywhere in real life. Millions of men getting screwed over every single day. And they have absolutely no power over the whole situation. So, I mean, you don't get anything at all from getting married. Nothing. There's no benefit to it. It doesn't make your life better. It doesn't make your life healthier. It doesn't contribute anything. It doesn't even provide any form of reassurance as far as your relationship is concerned. So there's no need for it. If you need to get married religiously, if you're a religious person, get married in a church. The Catholic Church will still marry you. But you don't have to sign the legal document saying that you want the state to recognize your union. You don't have to do that. And honestly, in this day and age, with the way the laws are set up and with the way things are happening, with the way things are exploited, you're much better off not getting married at all. Because there's no advantage. And it's a mess. Everything from custody laws to alimony to child support, even spousal abuse. None of those things are seen the same way. There's really no benefit to it. It's all skewed and it's all biased. So getting married and signing the dotted line on that contract pretty much puts you in a position where you risk losing everything at some point over something you didn't even do. It's not worth it. And I think that that's the trend we're going to see because so many children in this day and age are being born into broken homes and they're seeing firsthand how dysfunctional relationships can be, and they live with vindictive mothers who use the family court system to get back at their fathers, or they have to deal with fathers who don't want to deal with the kids or the family, and they're seeing firsthand how messy divorces and marriages can be. So a lot of kids are going to grow up to be individuals who will not get married because they know better. They may have kids, they may live together, but they don't get married. The marriage rates are going to drop drastically at some point, especially now as people are becoming less willing to have their lives dictated by religious beliefs. People are just going to stop following societal dogmas, and I think that's for the best, at least for now, unless the laws change and become a little bit more balanced. But as of right now, for any man trying to make it or any man that has made it, marriage makes no sense. Don't get married. It doesn't prevent you from having a long and fulfilling life. You can have kids, you can live with the woman you're in love with, and you can do everything else that you've always wanted to do. You don't need a piece of paper to reaffirm that. Because honestly, once you sign that piece of paper, you stand to lose a lot more and you stand to gain absolutely nothing. And I know some people will say that I don't understand what marriage is about, or they'll try and talk all that love nonsense. But look, marriage is not about love. It never has been, and it's not about love now. If it was about love, the divorce rate wouldn't be as high as it is. Love and fidelity are two different things. Commitment is a personal choice and has nothing to do with love. It has everything to do with personal character. So that will have no bearing whatsoever on whether or not two people should get married. My opinion is simple. Men shouldn't get married at all. At least not right now. But a lot of men don't listen to that advice until it's too late. And then they have a lifetime of regrets. So I hope that answers your question. Feel free to hit me with your comments and remember to subscribe. Later, people.